This is Doug Evans, President and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and this is your Palm Beach Guide, our weekly podcast that I hope you're enjoying. If you've checked us out before or tuned in, as they might like to say in the old days, it's a fun way to find out about Palm Beach and some of the great people, the movers and shakers here on our little island of paradise who help us at the Chamber of Commerce successfully manage and do all the things we love to do. With me today are two really fun, important key stakeholders of the Chamber of Commerce. I've got Marta Weinstein, who is a very, very involved, if not a leader, in our ambassador program, and she'll tell us what that is. And Susan Kaplan with the Fuoco group, who is this amazing woman who has this hat of many kind of colors, where she does so many things for Fuoco, and her career from fashion to accounting to all kinds of things just absolutely blows my mind. So good morning, ladies. We're so glad you're here.
Good morning, Doug. Thank you so much for having us.
Good morning, Doug. Pleased to be here.
I'm so glad you've joined us today. So we're going to start with the ambassador program, because the Chamber has a lot of different things that we do, and one is the ambassador program. Now, I've been to the Chamber getting close to a year now, which is a dream come true. I'm having such a great time with everybody. And Marta, I see you at these 6 a.m. breakfast calls, and of course the breakfast starts at 7 a.m. And of course Susan Kaplan with Fuoco Group is there also, doing all kinds of fun things, getting ready for her clients to entertain them. But Marta, tell us what the ambassador program is and why you chose to get involved with the ambassador program. I know what you do, and to me it's amazing, and thank goodness without you as a volunteer this wouldn't happen. So tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, thank you so much. The ambassador program for the Chamber is a really fun group of people that are there as an extension of the Chamber to assist all of our current membership, potential future members, to arrive to our events, to ask questions about what the Chamber is, to deliver that message of we are here for business, and we are here for each other, and we're going to create connections and make a very cohesive business community.
And so when you're there, I kind of learned about this, not by accident, by a discussion getting ready for this, our 95th year celebration of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, which is amazing because the only businesses still in existence that were there before us is Casatle's on Worth Avenue, 100 years this year, and the Breakers, right, I think, at 126 years. So when you're there, I see all of you welcoming people in, and then you divide this ballroom, which is 500 people for breakfast, which plus a waiting list. You divide it in quadrants, correct, to make sure that people get to their tables and those kinds of things?
That is correct. That is for that breakfast. Our main objective is to make sure that everybody feels welcome. It is a little bit intimidating, is you are coming into a room with 500 other people. For a lot of people, it's their first time attending. So we want to make sure everybody is welcomed, everybody know what to expect and where to go, and again, create those connections. We come into a little reception area where we have the opportunity for network with each other. We have some high top tables if any companies wanted to display their company a little bit, or their product, or their services. We also have a fabulous breakfast buffet that the Breakers puts up for us. And then we go into the room that we split into quadrants, and we assign ambassadors to each one of those quadrants. So we have presence in the room, regardless of where you are in the room, you will find an ambassador to help you find a seat, to help you make a connection, or just to say hello.
I love that, help you make a connection, because this year we're making a change in that we are, and the breakfast at the Breakers is beyond belief. It's not a croissant and orange juice. It's like a full breakfast. And when you say 500 people, one thing that I've noticed, and I'll talk to Susan about this in a minute, is the energy, the joy of people coming to this breakfast. I couldn't believe that people be so excited to come to breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning at the Breakers. Now, for those listening who have not been to Palm Beach, you can Google the Breakers, thebreakers.com. You drive up this grand driveway to this imposingly beautiful, gorgeous building. It's stately, it's wonderful, and this ballroom, the windows open onto the Atlantic Ocean, and there's this amazing food. Now, I never get the food because I'm working, which is fine. I just kind of saddle up to my Diet Coke or whatever. But what we're doing this year is we're going to stop the food service at 7:45 so that people in the room will actually network. And I think, Marta, what you just said, the last word, networking, is something that's going to be a bit of a more proactive, let's use the word proactive, change,
yes,
to get people in the room to actually talk to each other. Because one of the feedback, we got two things. Number one, and I know you're aware of this, last year I was walking out and somebody said, Doug, why can't we come earlier as opposed to 7:15 or 7:30? I said, I guess you can. What time? He said, let's start at 7. And of course, Kiana Rivera, my colleague, said the Breakers will do whatever we want. They're 6-star service.
They're incredibly accommodating.
So we start at 7 now, and people are actually there at 7 o'clock in the morning. So Do you see this as a real opportunity now with that 15 minutes is a long time, but it's a great amount of time. And how will you personally, as a lead ambassador in your quadrant, do things differently to get people to talk is my big question for you. So I'm curious as to what you're thinking about that.
I think the change on the timing is actually going to work the flow of the event. I think that we are all going to be a little bit more promptly on arrival. I think that we're going to have a little bit more intentional timing for getting there and meeting exactly the people that we want to meet, or to just create new connections, grab a bite to eat and sit down for an incredible program. It's not all about the breakfast and the connection, because you also have incredible speakers that are delivering the message and sponsors that are taking, their dollars and their time to make sure that we have just this quality of venue and meal and presenters as well. So it's incredible. Now, in each quadrant, the ambassadors are going to be, again, a little bit more intentional as well. We are going to study, we have table sponsors. So what table sponsors are in our quadrant, who our contact is, what do they do, what is their business, who will be a good connection for them. And within our quadrant, in this big ballroom, we're going to create those connections and that synergy between each other. We also know each other, and we have a little bit of an ambassadors meeting before the breakfast happens. So we can talk to each other and say, who's in your quadrant, or what would be a good connection for your table sponsor. So being prepared ahead of time and having that synergy once we are at the event is going to be key, and I think we're prepared for it.
I love that word, intentional. And in one of the quadrants is the Fuoco group with Susan Kaplan. And listen to her laugh. Listen to her laugh today. Susan have you ever had Susan in your quadrant, by the way?
I have not, but I make sure I say hello every single time.
Listen, Marta always knows who the VIPs and the MVPs are in the room. And I think that's also one of your responsibilities, is to make them feel well, make sure they're on point, make sure that the photographers, because they all have a list of people that they have to capture their images, make sure that they know, where they are, and, there's a moment that they can capture their image and what have you. The ambassadors play a huge, huge part in, the internal and external operations of our beloved chamber. And we love you.
Susan Kaplan is with Fuoco Group, and Susan is a trustee. Susan is
an unofficial ambassador.
An unofficial ambassador. She's an unofficial photographer also, which is terrific. And Susan, how long have you with Fuoco, or just in general, been a member of the Chamber of Commerce, the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, yes. I've been a member of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, I believe, since 2014.
Long time.
So, yes, and I've seen a lot of changes. And by far, Doug, you are that breath of fresh air that we needed to help enter us into this new post-COVID era where our town is changing, and we're building bridges to West Palm Beach as well, to the businesses and all the people that we have welcomed from the northern northern part of the United States, and with open arms, I might add, a lot of which are my clients. We have Fuoco Group has 2 offices in New York, one in Hauppauge, Long Island, and the other in Tarrytown, which is in Westchester. And that's actually how we got down to Florida.
Tell me more.
27 years ago. We've been around since 1996. Lou Fuoco followed a lot of his clients that came down to Florida part-time to retire, semi-retire, full-time, and they all started businesses here because they're all serial entrepreneurs, like Lou Fuoco himself. So we have quite a few business clients and individual clients on the island, and that's one of the reasons that the chamber is important to us, because our clients expect us to be on top of everything, legislative, IRS, local trends in businesses, in real estate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we find that the chamber is an extremely valuable tool for us to keep our finger on the pulse of, what's going on in the area. So thank you for that. And going back to the sponsors who often share unbelievable information about what's going on in their sphere, whether it's healthcare, whether it's legal, et cetera, et cetera. But the speakers as well, very, very dynamic programming, and I think you're even kicking it up a notch this season, Doug. If I'm not mistaken, it's very, very welcome. You mentioned Hey, listen, most of us are up at 5 a.m. anyway, so
True.
by 7
That's true.
a.m. we're
Yeah.
starving.
We're ready to roll.
And
Yes.
Paul Leone at the Breakers has the best scrambled eggs in town, just in case there was any doubt in your mind. But, as our clients have expanded, we've expanded too. We used to be the traditional tax accounting, audit.
And you do more than that now. That was my next question.
Oh, yes. Well, the Fuoco Group, we have our TFG-related entities, all of which are members of the Chamber and very, very engaged, from the young professionals to the new Women's Leadership Council, the trustee program. The Chamber has so much to offer. Whether you want breakfast, whether you want lunch, whether you want cocktails, we have it all. And we're trying to really drill down on the needs of our members and our audience and give them more educational, more innovative types of programming, which I'm very excited about. So back to TFG. We have, in addition to the Fuoco Group, which is basically our audit arm now. We have the TFG Tax and Accounting Group. We also have the TFG Financial Advisors. We have the TFG Business Advisors. And now our newest child, our TFG Concierge Corporate Services, which does all the HR consulting and also all the document preparation, the forms, the filings, what have you. And this has all mushroomed from what our clients are telling us
What they needed.
that they need.
What they needed.
We're there to, we are a full service firm. So it's great that we can provide all these services under our TFG umbrella. So speaking of which, since our TFG umbrella has expanded so over the years, we are very, very excited for this year. We sort of floated the idea to the Chamber to have different, for the breakfasts, we have our table sponsors to float different levels for businesses that wanted to be more supportive in a
Correct.
financial way, because we love what's going on in the Chamber.
Thank
the
you.
new programming, Doug, what have you. And not only that, but because we have so many clients, so many prospects, and obviously, our growing staff, we want them to be able to be engaged as well. So we were very happy to be able to, step up there and support that idea.
Which you did immediately, because I think that we discovered that in the ballroom, which holds 500 people, essentially, some people like the Fuoco Group and Susan Kaplan needed a table of 12.
Yes.
Now, that sounds like, okay, 10 to 12, what does that mean? Well, over the course of 10 breakfasts, that's 20 more people or clients that you can bring in over the course of the year, which is terrific. When you talk about these things, Susan, and what the Chamber does for your business and all the different areas you have now, including payroll, by the way.
Oh, yes,
add that
thank
in.
you.
You're doing all of it. When I think of Fuoco Group, I don't think of Lou Fuoco, I think of Susan Kaplan. I mean, you've branded the company so beautifully, which is terrific. And I'm not saying to be nice to you. When people think Fuoco in this region, not just Palm Beach, the region, they think of you because you're the true ambassador for that.
Well, listen, our community involvement is so important to us. Lou Fuoco, from the day I met him, is a very charismatic individual. And he liked what he heard in my interview, and I liked it as well, because I'm all about educating people. I don't need to sell anybody anything. People have a need, and you need to be there at the moment, the who, what, where, when, and why, when it all works. Yeah. And we try to educate people what's going on, what you need to do, how to, stay compliant, how to, it's not enough anymore to just, push the envelope.
Right,
you need to be 2 steps ahead of the envelope.
You do.
And we try to accomplish that for our clients. And hence, again, our involvement with the Chamber here comes into play, and it's very,
But
very important.
I have to agree with Doug. When we all think about the Fuoco Group, we think of Susan. We need something
Marta,
to Fuoco
thank
Group.
you so
Let's
much.
call Susan. So,
Well, and we also, and I'm not, I'm going to lateral this a minute. We also think of Marta Weinstein. We think of the Colony Hotel, and of course, the Colony has a storied, fabulous history, and the Duke and Duchess of Windsor used to winter there. Of course, we know who those folks are. I almost said York, but there have been so many people. So, Marta, you moved here from Colombia.
correct.
31 years ago.
Correct.
Marta Weinstein, which I love. And you have been at the Colony for...
I have been at the Colony for 10 years. October, the first week in October will be 10 years at the Colony.
Marta, how many, and the renovations have been
Pink
so
Palace.
beautiful. How many renovations have you already lived through in your tenure?
In my 10 years, we have done 2 major renovations.
Wow, and they've been amazing.
It's gorgeous.
That has been incredible. We are so lucky that our ownership and our management, everybody is so invested in the property and the staff, which is what's so important to me, and something that sometimes gets overlooked is that we make these renovations to make the building and the surroundings absolutely beautiful, but you have to have the service to support it.
Oh, yes, and you
So,
do. Trust me, I go to
educating our
Swifty's
staff.
Tiki Bar every Saturday and Sunday in Holt Court, and the service is amazing. People call you by your first name. You
They
walk
do.
up to the bar, they already have your drink ready and waiting, and talk about the breakers being accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. You guys take it totally to the next level, Martha. God bless you.
Thank you. Well, we are, in Palm Beach, we are so lucky to live here and to have so many beautiful properties. And I think that's what sets the Colony apart is that service and that personal touch and that really feeling of hospitality and warmth and welcoming home every one of our guests that are coming back.
Well, it's not only that. I'll tell you what I love. So many of the newer hotels are taking going in a totally different direction. But the lovely thing about the Colony is, you are true to the spirit of our beautiful beachfront environment, as well as that comforting, loving feeling that comes in and of the tropics, our beloved pink and green throughout. It's just so comforting. So comforting.
It's warm and embracing. And
Yes.
of course, that was all developed in the last few years since Sarah Wettenhall bought the hotel, correct?
Absolutely, Sarah and Andrew Wettenhall. The Wettenhall family has involved in ownership of the property for many, many years, since back in the 70s. But now Mr. Wettenhall Jr. Owned the hotel originally. Now his son Andrew and his wife Sarah are current ownership, and the entire family, along with their 3 children, are leading our team and being a part of what is a wonderful, wonderful place and staff and
Legacy.
venue.
Legacy.
It's legacy.
It is legacy, and it is so important that we stay true to those roots and to that feeling of hospitality that is so unique to Palm Beach.
And what I see when I walk through there, as I do many times a week during season, and season for those listening is typically November to April. It's expanding, it's getting larger because more people live here year round, as Susan
We have
just
mini
said.
season now.
So we have all kinds of seasons, and I loved the summer this year. It was fun, and a lot of people just don't leave; they just stay here because they realize that it's hot here, but it's hotter in New York and Connecticut, New Jersey, quite frankly, because we have the beautiful ocean breezes. But when I walk through the hotel, I see Sarah Wettenhall out there with her hands in everything in a good way, whether it's marketing, a photo shoot, the menu, where the staff is standing and
Absolutely
working.
everything.
And she does it for a good reason. She wants 100% satisfaction all the time. And I'm seeing it. To me, it's amazing. And I still know people now who take up, like the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, who take up residency in the Colony Hotel for several months in the winter.
Absolutely. Sarah is very, very involved, and quite frankly, we would not have it any other way. She is really the genius mind behind the new rebranding, the marketing, the decor, the service training for the staff, the uniform programs, absolutely everything. So we have that cohesive element that I was talking about. And her guidance has been invaluable, and I don't think the hotel would be where it's at today without just that.
I totally agree.
Hey, tell us about some of the new designer rooms. You had a couple of very famous VIPs in the fashion and design world play their hand at decorating some of the
We have
high-end
had
guest rooms.
some incredible brand partnerships that have come to us for design purposes or for retail purposes, for food and beverage, for all different purposes. So far, we, of course, have worked with Kimball Interiors and a lot of the design of the hotel.
very talented.
We work with so many brands like Louis Miller is our in-house florist right now.
Which is gorgeous, by the way.
He is incredible. Thank you so much.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And he is getting a little bit more involved into the operation of the hotel, and we are going to able to offer a lot more from Louis to our brides and our groups and our guest rooms. We have had partnerships with companies like Dolce & Gabbana that has had residency at the hotel for retail purposes. We have had a lot of skincare. We know we are a boutique. We're a luxury. We're boutique. We're family owned. We don't have the expansion that all the other resorts has when it comes to spa and golf
Right.
and all of this. So we have brought that to the hotel, and we have created the partnerships within the island in order to do just that. So this season we have Neuropathica come in from New York.
Whoa, that's
Taking
amazing.
Residency at the hotel for all of those spa, facial and body services.
All right, make me an appointment.
And
She's on her way.
and we have actually a couple of a little large announcements coming within a couple of weeks about more brand partnerships that are coming out that are going to be just incredible and at the next level that I think not only the hotel but our whole island is going to be able to enjoy.
You know, what's wonderful about this is that you've taken the Colony hotels, the Wetton Halls have taken it to the next level, which I love. To me, it's an oasis of tranquility. And I've been going to the Colony for almost 30 years now. And I would go there on Sundays many years ago, and it was a very, very quiet, sedate place for Sunday
Yes.
brunch. Now it's full of life in a good way. There are young people there. There are families there. There are people
In the pool.
in the pool swimming, which never happened before, by the way.
Absolutely.
Even though 10 years, nobody ever got in that pool.
Oh, I know. And that has been part of that rebranding process. You know, the Colony used to be the place that was geared more towards adults. It was more towards
Older
maybe if we're
adults.
coming to visit grandma and grandpa, we're going to go for dinner at the Colony. And that was a treat. And it was a fantastic at it as well. But now we're multi-generational. We see that not only with our travelers that are super savvy these days as well.
It's a very sophisticated
A
vibe.
very sophisticated
Very.
vibe for just the right people, but also on our food and beverage operation. So local people, not necessarily staying at the hotel, but staying at one of our neighboring homes, come to us just to spend the day, to have a meal, to enjoy each other. And those folks that used to come to the Colony just for that one meal with the elders are coming to say, this is where part of our family history happened. So it's so beautiful to see those stories happening and those lines of generations coming back and having the Colony still as part of their family life.
Correct.
Tradition. Yeah.
Tradition.
Family traditions.
You're listening to Your Palm Beach Guide. I'm Doug Evans, the president and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today with Marta Weinstein, who is an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce and also one of the key stakeholders who helps the Colony Hotel. The Pink Palace, been there for many, many decades, a storied history, a leader there in her position, and I love how she talks about the specifics. And Susan Kaplan, who's the Fuoco Group, who's a major sponsor of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, also our unofficial photographer and the brand ambassador for the Fuoco Group. I want to talk about everybody, and Susan mentioned this earlier if you've been listening to the entire podcast, that a lot of people have come here in the last 3 years because of COVID, let's admit it, plus the favorable tax situation. A lot of people have left the golden state of California, which I love, by the way. It's a beautiful place. I actually, at one point in my checkered past, lived there for a while in a little burg called La Jolla, which is kind of like
it's
Palm Beach.
beautiful.
Beautiful. But, you realize that California is a very expensive place to live, as is New York and Connecticut, New Jersey, and I love those places. I'm many years in Connecticut, New York, like Susan and Marta. I'm going to come Westport, Connecticut, my place there also. And I just got our engineer said yes, Westport, Connecticut, we love it. But people come from around the world, and Marta, you came here from Colombia 31 years ago, and 10 years ago you started the Colony. Tell us a little bit about your history, and you're a hotelier now. The hotel business, was that always your business?
No. Actually, when I came to the States, I came because when you're going to graduate from university, my university in Colombia, you have to have a second language fluently. I only spoke Spanish, so I came originally to study English. I was graduating in architectural design, which is the degree that I hold, not as a hotelier, but I have been working as a hotelier since I was 14 years old.
Wow.
So all through high school, all through my college years, I worked in hotels. And while I was here studying English, I met who's today my husband. We just celebrated our 30th wedding
Congratulations.
anniversary. And I've been here ever since. And I loved it. And of course, once we started our family, we started our lives here, I thought, okay, what hotels are in the area? That's what I love to do. That is where my passion is. And I started working at PGA National, was my first hotel.
Great operation.
Incredible operation. I was a little bit familiar with the staff. I worked for Intercontinental Hotels in the Caribbean and
Also
South
a
America
great
before
brand
that.
also.
So I got to know some of the staff back then. So I came in, felt right at home, and I was with PGA National for about 16 years of my hotelier
That's
career.
a long tenure.
Yeah. And Ruth Young, who retired 10 years ago from the Colony, she had been there for 25 years as director
I
of
remember
sales.
her. I had forgotten about her.
Oh,
Yes.
she is phenomenal. She's phenomenal. She was a great
Totally
part of the
forgot.
chamber as well. She introduced me to the chamber, so that I'm very grateful for. So Ruth called me and she said, "Hey, I'm retiring. We have traveled many times together, and you have mentioned how much you like my hotel," referring to the Colony. "So why don't you come have lunch with me? I want to introduce you to my general manager."
And that's how it all
And the rest
happened.
is
That's how it
history.
History. Oh
And that's how
my
it
God.
works.
The rest is history.
What a great story.
And I have been so lucky to be part of the Colony with the change of ownership, with the rebranding, with the change of decor, with the new old ownership, if that makes sense. So I think I'm very lucky.
It's an evolving ownership because it was Wettenhall and Clark, then Clark, and now Wettenhall's, as many businesses are in Palm Beach, which I love about that. So it's a storied, legendary past, in that you've been in the industry 30 years, 26 years, but the two that I count now, and probably some other locations with some great brands. Colony's great. It's an independent brand, but it's a great brand, and that's the brand, and that's what we love about Palm Beach. And when you said about Florida, you came here, your family, you loved it. The thing about Florida is, it's like I said about New York City, you either love it or hate it. There's no in between.
That is true. That
I
is
happen to
very true.
love Florida. I love New York City too, in small doses now, because it's changed dramatically.
And not in the winter.
and definitely not between like November and April, except to go up and look at the snowflakes and things like that. So that you're here is terrific. You love it here. Your family's here, and you've built a life here. And I have to know that Susan Kaplan, who's with us today, Fuoco Group, Susan has a storied past. Fashion. We talked about it a week or so ago at dinner. Fashion, all kinds of Calvin Klein, correct?
And Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent, you have to say with a French accent. But Susan, tell us a little bit about your past. I know you were in the fashion industry. I know you went to NYU. I know you went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, one of my former schools that I
And
gave a lot
also
of money to.
FAU, which is where I got my human resources certification.
See, this is interesting. So you were in the fashion industry.
Well, my background is all big brands. So Tiffany, Calvin Klein, and Saint Laurent, but of course in menswear, not in women's wear. It was a little too cutthroat in women's wear for me. And I was very happy. Let's just say where the chips fell. Traveled the world, obviously for inspiration in Europe, and then fabrics in Japan, and cut, make, and trim in Hong Kong and Taiwan. But Cupid caught me, as it does, many young entrepreneurs, and I kind of sort of had to settle down when I got married, except that my husband was the COO of Philips Van Heusen.
PVH,
So I
as they call
continued
it,
to
yeah.
travel the world with him. And, of course, having that common ground in the menswear industry was very useful, let's just say on both sides of the coin. But then I was lucky enough to become a mom, and that kind of grounded me for a while. So I was looking for something else to do, and a mutual friend who at the time was affiliated with another accounting firm said, "Why don't you come work for us? We need somebody like you." And I'm like, "Oh, but your CPAs, you're so boring."
Yeah. Boring.
And now here we are, 2023. But I love it, because I love to feel needed. And trust me, the accountants and the CPAs, they are very good at what they do. However, social skills, well, except for my boss, he's a master
social,
at this,
but
Lou
most
Fuoco.
accountants are
But I mean,
little more
they're
reserved.
more about their clients and the rules and the regs of the IRS, and they live in a different world than the rest of us. And thank God they do, because they save us I can't say that word,
Isn't
but
that true?
they save us a ton
money.
of money while
Susan,
keeping us compliant.
Susan, you left something out of your past, which I found fascinating the last time we talked about this. You got so enmeshed in the menswear industry that you decided at some point in time you could do it better. The buttons, the color, the collars, everything, and you got into manufacturing.
Yes, I was in retail for a while. I worked for Tiffany's and for Macy's, and I was always so critical, like, oh, they should have put a different handle on this bag, or they should have put a different zipper, or they should have put a different pocket. And I said, you know what, this is really silly. Yes, I really need to go into manufacturing because I know what these products need to have. And that was really kind of how it all started. And plus, I wanted to be creative, and that's what I love about what I do for the Fuoco group. I mean, I know what I know. I'm dangerous, but I do the website and the newsletter and the social media. So it involves a lot of research. Plus, I talk to the professionals all day long. I also talk to the clients all day long. So I kind of know, like, what's the question on top of everybody's mind? What's the question on the tip of their tongue? And again, we're all about education. So we try to, address that.
That's the creativity part of it. And every job has a creative portion. As I'd mentioned to you, and not Marta so much, as I spent 5 years in the fashion business running a foundation. And you talk about creativity, and that industry has changed so dramatically in the last 10 years.
It has.
And shockingly to me, I knew nothing about the fashion industry until I got into the underbelly of it to find out where things are made, what the markup is on things. And my first office in the fashion industry was in the Empire State Building. We all know the Empire State Building.
I love it.
And there's some big companies in there, and I had an office in there, and I was in the elevator one day. There's a point to the story, and I bought a new pair of blue jeans, which I actually have on today, the same brand. And I was in there with 5 executives.
Oh, I was going to say the same blue jeans, and you still fit into them. Oh my God! I want your diet.
I do still fit in them, by the way. But I'm in the elevator with these 5 men, and they go, "Oh God, Doug, those are great blue jeans. Where'd you get them?" And they expected me to say those very big, expensive brands.
Right.
And I mentioned one that's a fast fashion brand. I said, "I got these for $25.99, and that includes tailoring." And I said, "For somebody my age and my build, these are amazing." They were dead silent. They're like, "You're the target customer, Doug, who we wanted to spend $200 on a pair of blue jeans," which I never would do in my life. And what I learned from that was that industry is so evolving with the consumers, and it's hard to get the consumers to come to your businesses. You've got to be creative every day. And what made
because it's all about fast and disposable fashion now.
And it's disposable, and it's not good for the environment also, by the way.
Right.
So this we do know. Well, when I think about creativity, and here's my point with this, with the two of you in the Colony Hotel, the Fuoco Group, no matter how you slice your businesses, it's about creativity every day because there is competition.
Absolutely.
Yes, the Colony has its own brand. It's a certain size of hotel in a certain location, but there's competition because there are other hotels to choose from in the region.
Absolutely.
On the island, and we're adding, I think, 2 more hotels on the island. The Chesterfield's being redone or something. There's the other one, I can't think of the name of it, that's been in construction for a couple of years. So there is competition.
There is competition. And as I mentioned before, because we are in such a beautiful location, such a beautiful destination, all of the hotels are beautiful. They all have something amazing to offer. Another very good thing about that is we are all very different from each other.
I was saying.
Well, it's the experience. The experience of the Colony.
And all the experiences in every hotel is great. But a consumer's looking for a specific experience. If you want the Palm Beach experience, you come to Palm Beach. You don't go to Palm Springs, California. You don't go to Aspen. You come to the brand is Palm Beach. And I spend a lot of time at town council meetings and things like that. We have a brand. So you have a brand, and I'm going to come to Susan's next, and I have a reason for that because I've thought about her brand. But the Colony brand is an experience, and it's much different from the other hotels on the island, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That we place ourselves as guardians of a certain history of hospitality. You know, we have to preserve that history of hospitality. We need to provide the service. I mean, the people that are coming to the Palm Beach experience that we're talking about are paying for that Palm Beach experience. And we need to deliver it because it's great to have folks coming to visit, but it's even better to have them come back.
Correct.
Because they have had that experience, that because, you know, they're bringing those tourism dollars that come to our destination that keep us all employed. And it's feeling taken care of like in any other place, with what you see, with what you smell, with what you taste, is the whole experience. And the Colony has put a lot of attention on all of those little details, you know, from the shampoo and the conditioner that you see in the larger bottles affixed to the wall that has our own formulas and our
Your brand
own
and your
scents.
formula and your scents. Yes.
Yes, to our furniture and our guest rooms have been created for us, have been designed by us. All of the fabrics, all of the bedside tables. Then we moved to the food and beverage operation. Our chef is incredible creative, and he changes the menu every so often, and he talks to the people, and he knows what they like and what works and what they would like to see more of. And all of that goes into putting that whole experience as we're listening and we are just really tickling all of your senses.
And you're really good about on brand, because I've had this discussion with Sarah and we talk about different things. She goes, but that's not on brand for us. And these are
Absolutely.
just discussions, basically, which I
Yes.
find. And you would have the same discussion with Mr. Leone at the Breakers or somebody
Yes.
else. This is our
Or with
brand.
Doug, the
Absolutely.
president of the chamber,
On brand.
that the chamber needs to be on brand.
gotta be on brand.
Absolutely, it's very
On
important.
brand. We want to make sure that people identify when they see something, when they smell something, when they hear something. Oh, that's the chamber, or that's the colony, or
that's the
that's
colony.
Fuoco group.
Yes, set the expectation.
When I walk into, and we won't mention it because they're not a member of the chamber, when I walk into a certain hotel brand, they have a certain scent. And the minute you walk in, you know it's a hotel. And I love the scent, by the way. I'm like, I know it. I happen to be allergic to the scent, but I love the scent.
Yeah.
Fuoco Group, when Susan talks about, they had a vertical with their original business, but now they've got this wonderful flattened horizontal where a customer can walk in to experience the brand at different levels and
That's
almost
it.
like
It's all about the
curate a menu,
experience.
right?
It's all about the
Of
experience.
And they might not take all of your offerings, but it's the experience. And I think
It's there. If you
it's there.
need it, we're there.
But you don't. But you said earlier, you don't sell it.
No,
You
don't have
educate.
to
You don't
educate.
sell it. And I love
We
that
have
because
established
it's,
ourselves as the person to go to in certain niche markets. I always say healthcare, hospitality,
Yes.
real estate, retail,
Nonprofits.
nonprofits. Yes, absolutely. But even in our business, people are looking for an experience. You set the expectation. We are a boutique firm.
you are.
Okay. And that comes with it a great responsibility because people are looking for more attention, more hands on. They call, they want to get a partner on the phone.
And you get it. And you get them.
And absolutely, positively. Plus, we service not just high net worth individuals, but entrepreneurs, business owners, closely held businesses as well that are, family oriented
Foundations.
businesses and what have you. And it demands a different level of service. Plus, a lot of our clients, they are young. They're young. And they want a different approach. They
Young
are
people-
diverse.
Young people
They are
in Palm
diverse.
Beach and the Palm Beaches.
Oh my God! Yes,
Really?
yes. Young entrepreneurs, young business owners. There's a lot of venture capitalists out there that
Yeah,
are, helping them to bring their products and their services to the forefront. And they need a firm that is nimble and quick. And that is us. We will help you grow. Come grow with us. We will keep you compliant, but we'll help you with your workflow. We'll help you with your cash flow.
And a firm that is very well established. I mean,
It's a
you
well-established
feel
firm. It's
there's
not
a
a
certain
fly-by-night.
feeling of
27
comfort
years. I
with
mean,
the
not as
Fuoco
many
group.
years as, the colony, obviously, but, when so many firms and partners come and go, there's a lot of burnout in the accounting industry.
Very transient.
We have a
Can be
different type of a
transient.
culture. We have a different type of a culture. We're extremely diverse and inclusive. And this is what our clients love because that's who our clients are, these young entrepreneurs and business owners. So you have to embrace the world of the new.
You do. And, I live in Palm Beach, on the island of Palm Beach. Yes, I'm one of those people. And we actually have school buses on the island now with children. Now, if you're listening to this, this is the your Palm Beach guide, Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. That would have been unheard of 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, there's a public
absolutely.
school on the island, but to see a school bus picking folks up to go to some of the private schools, the academies and things like that, I'm thrilled. Because something, I said to somebody who is not pro evolution or change in the most kindest sense, but something, if you look at Palm Beach history in the 1950s and 60s, there were young couples here with children. right? And now those adults, if they've not passed on, are the octogenarians. And their kids have not come back here or stayed here. We're seeing this new wave of entrepreneurs to the Fuoco group. These young people at the colony on trivia night and the nights that you
isn't
have,
that great?
that you have
It
at the
is so
colony.
much fun.
it's
It
great.
really
Trivia night.
is.
You see these young people. When I leave the colony, I'm a volunteer board chair for the World Affairs Council, and I see people coming up for the queuing up for the valet line. It's young people. It's young people, young people. So you're listening to your Palm Beach guide. It's not the Palm Beach. It's still the great brand. It's still the most wonderful destination, I believe, in the world. It's an experience beyond belief in a great way, whether it's the restaurants or the hotels or the businesses or the ocean or the beaches or the palm trees or Worth Avenue.
Or the culture.
Or the culture. It's just, to me, it's just amazing. But to see this evolution, change happens whether you like it or not. And as Susan Kaplan would say, either embrace it or you don't. If you don't, you're going to be left behind because it's going to happen. Your inertia is not going to stop it. So I want to wrap up here with us, and I want to thank you both coming. Marta Weinstein, your title at the colony is?
Thank you. I'm Director of Sales for the hotel.
Director of Sales. And what is the website for the Colony Hotel?
It is thecolonypalmbeach.com.
thecolonypalmbeach.com. And Marta Weinstein, if you call there, I'm sure if you ask for her, you'll get her right away. And if you're listening to this, if you're from outside of the area, I urge you to check out the colony because it's a beautiful experience. Even if you just go there for lunch one day to dip your toe in the water by the pool, it's poolside dining. It's gorgeous, my favorite place to sit outside by the pool and eat. And Susan Kaplan, who's the Fuoco Group, who has a host of businesses from accounting to tax filings to payroll. Susan's been in the Palm Beaches for how long now?
Oh my goodness, 30 years.
30 years. So, well, you and I moved here at the same time. We didn't know each other. I wish we had then because we really would have tore the place up starting 30 years ago. Susan, is there a website for the Fuoco Group?
There is. Yes, it's fuoco.cpa.
Fuoco is spelled Fuoco, or just jump into Google and say Fuoco Group. It's going to take you right there. They have offices all over the East Coast and amazing people. In full disclosure, they do the tax filings for the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and they do a great job with it, so we're thrilled with that. And I know that whenever I need to get somebody at the Fuoco Group or the Colony Hotel, I pick up the phone, and there they are. Ladies, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you for having us.
You've been listening to Your Palm Beach Guide. I'm Doug Evans, President and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and we do hope you'll come to Palm Beach soon in office. And as these two ladies would say, come back and visit us many, many times. It's always sunny and beautiful in Palm Beach. Thanks for listening.